All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. And with the start of a new Major League Baseball season right around the corner, I want to take this time out to talk about all things in the National League West. Now, for the Diamondbacks, Padres, Rockies, and Giants, they are attempting to do something that has not been done that often in recent history, which is to dethrone the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers have won this division 11 of the last 12 years, and they're looking to make it 12 out of the last 13. But more importantly, the Dodgers are looking to join the New York Yankees, the 2000 Yankees, that is, as the last team to three-peat. Now, we just saw the Dodgers become the first team since the Yankees of that era to repeat, and now they're looking to make it three consecutive World Series championships. But first things first, they've got to go out there and take care of their business in the regular season in order to get back to the playoffs. In spite of the winning the last two World Series titles, the Dodgers are not taking a step back, as you could make a very good case that they've only gotten better. They continue to be the kings of the deferred money, which allows them to open things up and get more flexibility to do more to go out there and do more spending and get more talent. We saw the Dodgers over the winter pry All-Star relief pitcher Edwin Diaz from the New York Mets. And one thing you could say about Diaz, when he's on top of his game in the ninth inning, there's not too many in baseball that are better than him. We saw Diaz opt out of his deal with the Mets, and he joined the Dodgers after they were willing to give him slightly more money than the Mets initially offered him. The Dodgers already had themselves one of the top bullpens in baseball a year ago, and now Diaz's arrival is only going to help to strengthen that unit even more. In regards to playing keep away from the Mets, as far if you're the Dodgers, all signs pointed to the Mets signing outfielder Kyle Tucker in free agency until the Dodgers swooped in at the 11th hour to get him as well. Now, we've seen Tucker be a very versatile player throughout his baseball career, and now he brings that versatility along with his own championship experience from the Houston Astros in 2022 to Los Angeles. Side note, real quick, for anybody who's going to check this out on the live at least, for whatever reason, I'm having some issues with the chat box right now. It is what it is. But nonetheless, if you do drop a comment, I guarantee you that I will get back to you afterwards on this. But getting back to these Dodgers, you still got the man, and I'm talking about Shohei Ohtani, looking to become the first player since Barry Bonds to win three consecutive National League MVPs. Remember, Shohei took home some hardware in the American League during his time with the Angels. Okay, and we're talking about a guy who is clearly still in the prime of his career. Don't expect him to slow down anytime soon. He could damage you with his arm on the mound as well as his bat. We've seen it, and Shohei is going to continue to get it done. You've got a veteran lineup for LA with the likes of Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, who always seems to find a way to make the big play for this squad. You got Will Smith, Max Muncy, and Andy Pages. Pick your poison because it's a veteran lineup and they just know how to get it done when the chips are pushed to the middle of the table. Not exactly murderer's row, but they're still very deep. They're a veteran club and they're very talented. Okay. You got a lot of quality arms in this rotation for the Dodgers. It includes the likes of Tyler Glasnow, World Series hero Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Blake Snell, and of course Shohei. And the big question is going to be for the Dodgers rotation is whether or not that they can stay healthy. And for manager Dave Roberts, he's looking to join some rare air if he's able to guide this Dodgers team to a third consecutive World Series title. And of the three, this has the potential to be the best. Now, in regards to those teams who are going to give or attempt to give the Dodgers a run for their money in the National League West, I want to start with the Padres because 3 out of the last 4 years have seen them make the playoffs. But they're looking to win this division for the first time in 2 decades. Okay. Um, Mike Schilt is out as manager, and he's been replaced by former Padres pitcher Craig Stammen, um, as far as being the skipper. No previous experience for Stamen, so let's see how that works out. Third baseman Manny Machado has very quietly, okay, become one of the better hitters in Padres history. He's no Tony Gwynn, don't get me wrong, but still, he's still become one of the better hitters. We saw Machado reach 2,000 career hits last season, and this time, 400 career home runs are not that far away. Just needs 31 this season potentially. Fernando Tatis Jr. Will he be able to put it all together for a full season and live up to his potential? That's a big question for San Diego. The arrival of Nick Castellanos. We saw him get released by the Philadelphia Phillies, and I'm curious to see whether or not the veteran outfielder is going to have something to prove, not only to himself, but his former club. We saw the Padres several years ago spend big money in free agency on shortstop Xander Bogaerts. Has not worked out so far. Will this be the year where things change for San Diego? A lot of questions about the Padres pitching staff. They lost Dylan Cease in free agency. He's in Toronto. And of course, they're not going to have the services of Yu Darvish for the entire year. You're getting Joe Musgrove back from Tommy John. What about Nick Pivetta and Michael King? How are they going to do things in this rotation? And of course, in the San Diego bullpen, they lost closer Robert Suarez to the Atlanta Braves. You still got Mason Miller. Is he going to be able to fill that void? If the Padres are able to make the playoffs this year, all right, it's going to be the first time in franchise history that they've made the playoffs in 3 consecutive years. So let's see if San Diego can get it done. Then moving to Northern California, there's the San Francisco Giants who are looking to break their recent trend of just hovering around 500. One thing is certain, and that is that the Giants president of baseball operations, Buster Posey, is willing to think outside of the box in order to get things turned around for this franchise. So, Tony Vitello, it's his time now to be the manager of the Giants. He's never played or coached in the big leagues, but he has had success managing at the collegiate level, which included guiding the University of Tennessee to the College World Series championship just 2 years ago. During his time in college, some of the notable players that he recruited and coached include the likes of Ian Kinsler and Max Scherzer. But now will Vitello be able to get it done at this level in San Francisco? So you look at the Giants, and like I said, they've been hovering around 500 for the last couple of years. But in order for them to get over that hump and make a real legitimate push to be a playoff team this year, they're going to need a strong output from the likes of infielders Willie Adames and Matt Chapman, as well as DH Rafael Devers. We saw them take a flyer on infielder Luis Ariz on a 1 year deal. He hit 292 last year, which led the National League in hitting as a member of the Padres. Good contact hitter is Ariz, and I think if he can hit for those gaps, okay, out there in San Francisco, he could have a big season at the plate. The Giants are going to have pitching with the likes of Logan Webb and Robbie Ray. And I think that right there could keep them around in this race in the NL West. Then there's the Arizona Diamondbacks. They want to make some noise this year. They were around 500 last year. We saw this team over the winter flirt with trading infielder Ketel Marte. He's still in Arizona. Okay. And let's see if he's going to have another big season at the plate. I think he will. We saw Arizona acquire third baseman Nolan Arenado from the St. Louis Cardinals over the offseason. But of course, the question is going to be how much more does the soon to be 35-year-old have left in the tank? We also saw the D-backs pick up veteran first baseman slash DH Carlos Santana, a professional hitter. He just knows how to get it done. You've got Corbin Carroll as well. You've got Lourdes Gurriel Jr. as well in this outfield, and Geraldo Perdomo. Okay, is he going to be able to build off of that career here? Hit 290 last year, 20 home runs, and 100 runs batted in. Make no mistake about it, Arizona is going to hit. It's just whether or not that they're going to get enough pitching. They had a 4.49 team ERA last year, 12th in the National League. They spent big in free agency last year on starting pitcher Corbin Burns, but of course, now he's in the process of recovering from Tommy John. Zach Gallen went from being a 17-game winner in 2023 to a 15-game loser last year. Which Zach Gallen are we going to see for Arizona this time around? They traded Merrill Kelly, the Diamondbacks did, to the Texas Rangers last summer just to get him back this offseason. Okay, so there's plenty of familiarity right there. And for D-backs manager Tori Lavolo, um, I think this can be an up and down year, but will Arizona get up at the right time in order to do enough to make the postseason? We've got to wait and see. And then there's those lowly Colorado Rockies who are in the midst of their worst stretch in franchise history. 7 straight losing seasons in Denver, with their last trip to the postseason coming all the way back in 2018. The Rockies, over the last 2 years alone, or last 3 seasons rather, excuse me, have lost 323 games, which included losing 119 a year ago, as they flirted with setting the MLB record for most losses in a season. Now, of those 323 losses, okay, that's basically almost the equivalent to 2 full MLB seasons. And this is how many games Colorado has lost, okay, in the last 3 years. A whole lot of nothing going on in Denver, as we're talking about a Colorado team that was the worst in baseball in almost each phase of the game last year. But with that said, hope springs eternal. And you got to wonder, is there any hope for this Rockies team to be able to compete this year? One thing I can say, catcher Hunter Goodman is a building block for Colorado. He belted 31 home runs last year after bouncing around with the Phillies and Angels. You got to wonder whether or not that outfielder Mickey Moniak has finally found a home with the Rockies. We saw an 11-win season last year from veteran starting pitcher Jose Quintana, as he helped the Brewers win the National League Central. And you got to wonder whether or not his veteran presence is going to help to improve the worst pitching staff in baseball. No Colorado pitcher won more than 6 games last year. So last year, the Rockies were able to somewhat compete when they made the shift to Warren Schaefer midseason to be their new skipper. But nonetheless, Colorado's going to need to be better than they were last year, clearly. This was a team that already had lost 74 games by the All-Star break. So I think the biggest thing for me for Colorado, they need to start a little bit faster, maybe win a series or two in the first month of the season to get some confidence. And I don't expect the Rockies to compete, but if they can find a way to not lose 100 games this year, I think it would be a big step in the right direction for this organization, but it's easier said than done. I think once again, the NL West is the Dodgers to lose. It's one of those things. The Dodgers, when I look at them, they have the talent to win 100 games, but I'm not sure if this team is going to keep it in third gear or not at times uh, during the season. It's one of those, they know when to kick it up a notch, okay? And we've seen that from the Dodgers, especially last season. Injuries, of course, can play a part in things as well. I think the Padres are going to flirt with being a postseason team again. And I think the same can be said for both Arizona and San Francisco. But like I said, the Dodgers are clearly and continue to clearly be the class of this division. And until something changes with that, everybody else is just going to be fighting for second. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw on this podcast, you know what to do. Just hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. And like I always say, it's greatly appreciated. Also, if you are on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out anytime at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you give me that follow, it will be my pleasure to do the same in return. And that also goes for Instagram, where you can check me out at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. Also, if you're on Facebook, definitely be sure to check out the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the better sports groups going on social media. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.